So welcome once again. What we'll do in the SQL bit is that we'll do more of the advanced parts of the course, which is where many analytical engineers will find themselves. Like we'll go into, instead of just the select part, we'll go into the window function. Um, we'll dwell there in the Windows function a lot. So the rank, the role, we'll write a lot of CTEs. So I don't want to rush us into that. Let's still look at pre-processing, have a clear idea of what pre-processing is about and why we need it. I know we discussed that last week, right? We talked about, or did we discuss pre-processing? Although we didn't really go in depth into it because of time. But yes, we'll look at it again. So we'll understand why we are doing what we are doing. And then, because this pre-processing is what many people spend 75% of their time as data scientists, as data engineers working on, even before building, like putting it through the model. And let me go to my slide and let's see how, just give me a minute. I don't know if you can see my screen. Please let me know if you can see my screen. Okay, so we spoke about Google Colab. How many of you guys have been able to look at it? So it's more or less like, Google is like a kind of a cloud platform. They have like a cloud platform. So this is more or less like a notebook on the cloud that Google used to support machine learning engineers. That's one thing I like about Google. They tend to really put in a lot of like free things, a lot of like useful things to support students, early careers, and even like people that are doing their own thing to learn and get. So it's free, except you want to use like more advanced features. So please let's all go to Google Colab because I would like you to not just listen to me, but whatever I'm doing, because now we're getting to like the practical bits. Whatever I'm doing, try to do it because you might listen and think that, oh, I know what she's saying. When you do it and you encounter errors, it forces your brain to think for itself. You get. So let's all go to Google Colab. When you're there, just put an emoji when you open your Google Colab. Okay, who else? So if you don't know where to go, so just put Google Colab, browse it on Google. It will take you there. So as long as you have a Gmail, you will have it. I want to see more hands or that have gone there. Okay, so if you go to Google Colab, you will see file. So go to file and then go to create new notebook. So for those that this is their first time seeing anything that has to do with this, whenever you code, you need to do it in what we call an environment. You need to do it somewhere. You get. So there are different platforms that offer you this thing. If you have been looking at the video, you have heard of Anaconda, there's a PyCharm, there's Visual Studio. But the reason why I'm not introducing you guys to all those ones is because those ones reside on your laptop. Like they use your laptop memory space and all those things. But this one is on the cloud. So even if you don't have like an high grade laptop or something, you can still do whatever you want to do without everything is just up there on the cloud without having to like start deleting things and all those things. So Google Colab is what I will always recommend. I was using Visual Studio before, but since I discovered this, it kind of like changed my mind about a lot of things. So is everybody on their notebook now? Are we there? Okay. So on the notebook, you will see what we call so just give me a minute. what we call cells. Each just let me share a different screen. They call this a cell. So you could write a particular code here and run it, just this particular one. So you can create like new cells like code. And sometimes you may want to include like a text to say data. This is for those that have never like come here before. I know some people may have been conversant with this. So oh, what did I create? It's not a code. I want to create a text. Yeah, a text. So this doesn't run. This just like part of coding practice is for you to really, how do I put it, really document your code. Like each line should, because sometimes someone else may want to pick up your code and learn, and you'll be doing the person a lot of good if you properly document your code. So first thing first, we want to, can anybody tell me why we pre-process? Can anyone tell us why do we go through these steps whenever we are working with data? Does anybody want to help the class? Why do we do data pre-processing? Was that, can you guys talk? Okay. Oh, unmute your mic. Sorry, I'm not here. But like, yeah, to clean the data, to know more about your data set. Yes, that's true. What else? Who else wants to help to understand the data more? What else do we have? Yes, please go ahead.
Okay, to understand the data more and see exactly what we want, what column. Like for example, in here in this example, we may want the balance, so we scrap only the balance and maybe the job name, so on. So we only take what we want from the data.
Okay, thank you so much. Another reason, you guys have said a lot. Another reason is that the computer doesn't, if you're going to be building a machine learning model, if it's just for storage, then we don't need to do the steps of converting a lot of things. If it's just maybe data engineer wants to, we'll still do that, how to normalize and normalize a data, like creating like schemas. That one is when we get in data engineering part. But now we are starting from a data science bit. And once you build what we call machine learning models, don't worry yourself if you are confused. We're going to be talking about the same machine learning models for a very long time. But when you want to build like machine learning models do not understand English. They don't understand boy, girl, single, yes, no. All what they understand is numbers. Even for images too, they don't understand images. They only understand pixels, like the all we'll get there, but they don't understand the things we understand. So what we want to do is we want to take what we are trying to give them from the way the way it's showing here, by you're saying job, management, technician, all those things. I want to put in the format that the machine learning model would understand. You get, so we're taking it from our own language to the machine's language, like to as low as the machine's language. And we understand that input is a great influencer of the output for a machine learning model. So if the data you are going to be passing into it is what it cannot understand, it will throw you an error, or it will give you like a very nonsense result. So we need to ensure that one, it's in the right format and the machine can understand, and two, it's in the best possible version of that format. So in the sense that if we change everything here to, let's say we change all of them to numbers, but some numbers are like way higher than some numbers, the machine learning model has a tendency of ignoring columns that have lower numbers and only focusing on the ones that have higher number. Take for example, if the machine learning model looks at it, look at my screen, there's a table showing there. It has age, it has job, marital, education, and all those things. Can we all see that? We can all see the table on my screen, right? What the model would do is that if we change all this, maybe we say, okay, let's marital status be 1 and single be 0. It will ignore all the small number and only focus on balance. Who can tell us why it's only focused on the balance column? Can someone help the class? If we say, okay, job is 0, technique 0 and 1, we represent all the other strings as 0 and 1 or 2. Why then when we feed it into the model will ignore all of them and only focus on balance? Can someone help the class? Anybody? Okay, so as not to waste time, it's only focused on balance because balance is the one that appears to have higher numbers. Like the margin between the numbers in balance is way above the numbers that are in age. I know that it's not as if maybe it's not that they're building sentiments or AI or all those things, but then the machine doesn't know what age is all about. It just knows that there's age column. It doesn't know that age means the age of somebody. You get, that's your own knowledge. It just knows that there's an age column and it has a certain numbers. And if it focuses on only balance and ignores every other column, you'll be able to see the true columns that are influencing other people, because this is a labeled data. I will still explain that. Don't worry, we'll still get to supervised and unsupervised learning. But if we're trying to tell the model to predict based on this column if Y will be yes or no, if it looks at age, job, marital status, and all those other things, if you focus on only balance, it could deceive you that balance is the only column that is influencing yes and no. Whereas it could be job too could also be influencing if probably Y is yes or no. I don't even understand what I mean. But just the whole idea of data pre-processing is that doing it the right way, in a way that it doesn't the model doesn't fail to perform. Like it doesn't, yes. Also, data balancing too is important. Part of my assessment for when I did machine learning in my course was that I was able to compare the performance of the ML model when the data was balanced and when it was not balanced. You get. So we'll talk about data balancing. So all those things are part of the things you need to do. That's what takes a large portion of your time as a data scientist. The things you do to ensure the data is in the right format and is in the best possible format. Now let's go back. What I want to do first of all is I want you guys to go to UCI and get any data of your choice. Can you go to UCI? I want you to do as I'm doing. I know it's going to be a long class, but it's better for you to do as I'm doing so that your brain starts getting used to this process. So who remembers UCI? Who remembers that platform? Yes, please go there. Find a data. Yes, please go ahead. Okay. So go there, find the data. If you don't want to, thank you so much, Shola. A data of your choice. Me, I'm more of a financial person, so I chose bank. So if you're a sports person, you're an health person, you're a geophysics person, or no geologist, that's what they call them. You're more of into find a data that speaks to that. Structured data, don't not no images for now. We'll still talk about images, but structured data for now. And let's start doing one by one. So what I do is what you do. as we go ahead. Okay, so I think I should share my whole screen so that when I'm moving from one place to another, I don't have to like do too much. So let me just share my whole screen, like the entire screen. So yeah, when you get that data, you come here, you come to this place, it will open your, what they call it, your system, and then you upload it. So try to get data that is not that large. Although in this space, I'll still explain how you can get your data from Google Drive, whereby you don't have to download, you just have to put it in your drive and bring it in straight. But for the structured data, just what's that word? Download it, then upload it to your Google Colab. So to upload, you go to this place. Let me see if I have like this. Yeah, this is my own data. It might come as a zip file, so you have to like unzip it. So I just chose this bank full. And one thing about these things that if you cancel it, it doesn't save. So you always have to like bring it in. That's one thing I don't like about it. You always have to upload it back in all the time. I hope they fix it in an update or something. But yeah, is anybody having troubles bringing in their data? Hmm? Are we good? Okay. So if you brought in your data, this library is used for reading in data like CSV, Excel. You could use Pandas for that. And also for data manipulation. It uses, but we'll talk about it when we get to feature engineering. I just want to show you I just want to show you the possibilities when it comes to working with data sets. Like it's like they call it a library. So when we go to Python, I will tell you what library. So libraries could have like various functions that you call. So you first of all you import the library, then you call some functions in that library. The whole idea of function is that someone has written the code. You don't have to, if everybody has to start building from the scratch, people will not be interested in coding. So someone has done the groundwork for you. All you have to do is import the person's package, bring it in, and then start using the functions of that person's library. So some people, their job in programming is to build like write libraries, build function. They send it to Python, and Python approves it. Once Python approves it, uh, yeah, most times it's Python. Once they approves it, you're able to, you that are using Python, you can, how do I put it? How I say, they're always updating. Most times you can now begin to use it. So when you bring it in, just write this code, import pandas as PD. Um, don't worry yourself if you don't understand what it is. We just want to use some of the, I'm trying to simplify it, some of the code that someone has written, want to use it to build upon it for our own data pre-processing. So who has never heard of pandas before? Show of hands if you've never heard of pandas before. So we are good, right? So when you import your pandas, we want to read in. Hope you've uploaded your data here. So when you upload your data here, can you guys see my screen? You can copy the part, copy the file path and put it here. Is everybody good? So before you put this other part, read it and see how it looks like. Sorry, I need to run it from here. So read it and see what it looks like. So you see what you are dealing with. Is everybody's data looking like this, or is just my own? Yes, please, Paul. Please go ahead. If it's
Yeah,
zip formats, can you unzip
yeah,
on your laptop side, or if you
yeah,
can't? Yeah,
Erica.
yes,
Yeah,
I'm.
please, can you like do a bit of explanation about Panda? Like, it's actually my first time.
Oh, it's your first time.
Yeah,
Okay, okay. So I'll just give a brief explanation because we still have a course called feature engineering at the old Panda thing will still come out. So the whole idea of if you go to Pandas, the library, if you go to Pandas, the library, there's a library there that tells the documentation and everything. So the whole thing is that it's a library, like I said before, a library. I'm trying to look at the simplest way to explain it without going too deep. But if you look at it, someone developed it. And then sometimes they make this type of things open source so that everybody can contribute to what has been developed. So Pan like is a library and it has different functions. And the different functions is used to work with data set. Data set is like a set of data. Like when we talk about data set, talking about most times when they say it's most times like structured data. So Pandas is what we use to work with structured data. It structured data most times in different formats like CSV, Excel. It works with Excel too. You could use it to, it has functions in the library that works with missing data. Like if you have a missing data, there's some functions you can call. So when I say functions are like block of codes that someone has written. So you just, instead of you having to rewrite it from the beginning, you just call it. I will show you when we get to Python crash course. I will explain functions for you. Just call it. So it has different functions. It has functions for reshaping. It has functions for slicing. It has functions for separating based on delimiter. Delimiter is like a comma. So like the way my code is, the way my table is now, you can see that it's just one single column that is separated by this. Sometimes data can be that messy and stored in that way. So instead of me having to manually, if you go to Excel, if you use Excel before, you know there's some things you can do in Excel to separate these things, right? Who has used Excel before?
yes,
Yeah.
yes. I
So
use Excel very much.
Python, yeah. So Python, Pandas too has some things you can call that will separate these things you get. So that's the whole. If you look at once I always encourage people that when you see something, you just read the documentation because no matter how much I explain, I will never be able to explain like the documentation, but I will only tell you what we use it for. So far, so good. But there may be new things that I don't even know about. So yes, it has functions. Excel too has functions, right? So just imagine that
Yes.
Pandas is like that. It has functions that you can call to do things for you without having to start from the beginning. So
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah,
so
I
just check
understand.
out the documentation. You use it a lot. Just check out
Okay.
documentation. But that's basically what it's about. Who got confused with my
Okay. Thank
explanation?
you very much.
Okay. So like this now, is everybody's data look like this or is just my own? Is it just my own? Okay. So when I encountered this, my initial step was to go through natural language processing part using the old split. But that's one thing about researching. There's always better ways to do what you know how to do. I was like, if I start showing people NLP now, I don't want to make people to run away from the course. So I discovered this that in Pandas, so there's a function, someone has written it, that if you just call this separate and you put what you want it to separate based on, and you run it to just split it based on that. So if it was comma, it wasn't semicolon, it was comma and I kept comma there, everything will separate based on that comma. So let's run this. You can see neat. That's the beauty of function. You don't have to over this thing. One thing about coding is that you have to keep reading, because there's people always looking for easier ways to do things. You get. So imagine if I had to like take what were taking me about 10 lines of code. I just kept one thing and it just splitted it for me. So when we get to this part, you can see that this is what we look like. If we're doing this table for a machine learning project, we would look at it's a structure, it's a um, supervised learning project, in the sense that there's question, there's answer already given, and then we want to train the model based on the question and answer. We will get there, don't confuse yourself, but you can write it down. Types of learning in machine learning, that's the supervised, unsupervised, and reinforcement. Reinforcement is usually used in big tech, but most medium companies use supervised and unsupervised. This is a suitable data for a supervised learning model, in the sense that we have examples to give. And the examples, there's the question, which is all this data here, these columns here. And then there's the answer, which is this y. So what we want to predict on is the y. We can rename the y to something else. I think this is a lone default project. So instead of saying y, we can rename the column. So who can browse? So the one thing you need to know is that interviewers mostly want to know what you not cramming the code, but do you know what to do? Like, don't worry, that's someone that recruits for data professionals to come and talk to you. They're not expecting you to cram the code, but they want to know that you know what you are doing. You can explain what you're writing. So right now, who can browse or research or just quickly ask ChatGPT, how do I change this column name from y to something that if someone else takes my code, person can understand? Who can do that briefly for us? Because column renaming too is part of the data pre-processing. You want to name your column in the way that when you upload it in maybe your company's central repository, if someone else picks it, they know what they are looking for. Who can help us? Anybody? Okay, please go ahead. When you do it, put the code in the chat. You get. Put the code in the chat. Oh, someone said, oh, okay, there are several files in the zip file. Hi, Shola, can you talk to me? What are files in the zip? Okay. Is everybody fine, or do we still have these questions? 'Cause I'm just saying the chat now. Oh, thank you so much. Oh, you guys is Shola, are you fine now? So there are so many things that just look at the one that has the one that has all the data. So there will definitely be other, they call them metadata, that explains the main data. But are you fine now?
No, I'm not fine yet. So,
Okay, please share. Are you comfortable sharing your screen so I can assist you?
okay, let me do that.
Okay. All I want is you. Breathe upon me. Okay. So I'll just drop the link, and then maybe later on we can like figure out what is wrong. Copy. Okay. So let me drop the link here for you.
Okay.
Check if you can access it. For every other person having issues with the data, you're not able to bring in your data, just see if you can use mine. Yes, just download that so you can work with me. Okay, you can stop sharing your screen now so I could go back to sharing mine.
Okay.
Okay, so I guess if you're taking my data, it may already separated the columns, so you may not need to do that. So the next thing we want to do, we want to know the shape of our data. We want to know the shape in the sense that how many rows, how many columns, so that when we finish cleaning, we'll compare number of rows and columns before cleaning and after cleaning. So this is a just call this dot shape. Don't need to stress yourself. If you do something like this, it should throw you an error.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry, Miyaka.
Yeah.
You were explaining how to change the column name before.
Oh yes. Sorry. Someone has brought the code in for me, right? Mm, 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 mm. So yeah, let's see if this works. So I want to rename my Y to loan default status. So I will explain what this is. If I say in place tree, means that this sorry, this is a function rename. If I say in place tree, means that I'm telling the program not to create a new data set. It should just change that same data set. If I don't put this in place true, I could decide not to put in place true and put new data is equal to. So it creates another data set, but it still calls it this to overwrite it. If I say in place true, I don't need to create another data. So let's see if it will work. So let's what they call it. I've run it. It didn't give any error. Thank you so much for the person. Hopefully it runs before I thank you. If it doesn't run, you give me another one. But let's see. Data.edge. Hey, see, it worked. Thank you so much, the person that gave us. So it's just first of all knowing what to do. Obviously, you can't cram code in your head, but if you know what that you're supposed to do something, you can always. Most of the time, the technical interviews are usually take home. They give you like something to do, yes, and they give you like 2 3 days to do it. If you have to do it in front of them, they will tell you that you can research, but they want to be seeing your screen and they want to be communicating with them while you are doing what you're doing. So I'm changing the name because I want someone to understand my code when he or she picks it. So now we know that based on this, what we want to predict on is loan default status. So we already have this data, the age, the job of the person, the education, wants to predict the loan default status. But remember, I told you that computer does not understand word. So the first step we want to do is we want to check if there's any missing value. So let me write this down. When it comes to data preprocessing, there are certain compulsory things you must do. Every other thing can come in based on the direction the data takes you, because sometimes data can take you through a different roadmap when it comes to data preprocessing. But the basic thing is, one, you must check if there are missing values. Two, you must check if there are outliers. I think it's them. So missing values, outliers. 3, after checking that, you must normalize it. Normalization involves changing, putting it all the data that's okay. Thirdly, you must encode the data encoding. That's changing the strings, the one that are in text, to numbers. The different ways you can encode depending on what kind of project you're working on. Then once you finish encoding, you now put it in, you now normalize it. You get, you normalize the process. Normalization involves it helps you make the machine see all columns as equal. So those are the major steps. Sorry, can we mute? Oh, same issue. Who is having the same issue? Okay, that's different. Oh, you've not been able to install Pandas. What is it saying? What's the problem? Emmanuel, are you there? Yes, please go ahead.
Okay, hi Oyeka, good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Okay, I've been able to upload my data set, but I don't know what else I'm supposed I don't know how to read the file like you earlier did. So I'm not following up with every other thing that you've been doing.
Okay, so what I did was that when you upload it, it should be here. When you click this thing, you should see your file around here.
Yes, I have seen mine.
So you go to, do you have a notebook?
Yes, I do.
So just do import pandas as PD first.
I have done that one.
So to read it, you go to this your CSV file, click here and say copy path.
Okay.
You paste it inside two what they call quotation mark, right?
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
you put it there.
Mm-hmm.
If it's not in an arranged format, probably it's the way it was before. You put this separate it based on whatever it was joined with before. Did you see how my data was looking before?
Yes, I did.
Yes, so just do that. And then this head is to read the first 5. Most time you can put head and put 6. That way to give you the first 6 rows.
Okay, okay, okay.
I think, is it tail for bottom 6? Let me test it. I don't know if it's tail for bottom 6. Yes, bottom 6 is tail. Yeah. So yeah.
Okay,
So
good.
and then I just renamed my Y. I didn't like the fact that it was Y. I felt it would confuse people. So yes, you can rename columns here. So then I checked the shape. Shape has to do with rows, number of column, number of rows. So this number of rows, and you have 17 columns. But at the end of the day, when we start reducing things, maybe it becomes less than that. So then this is NA sum. What this does is that it checks if there are missing values in any of the columns. So this, why is this still showing? Sorry, not supposed to still be showing. Okay, wait. Okay, yeah. So mine is saying 0. I don't have any missing value. Does anybody have any missing value? So the way we treat missing value when it comes to like data types that are of these ones are what we call, if you want to check the data type, you just do new data dot d type or something. Yeah, d type. Let's see if this will, no, sorry. Oh, sorry. It's giving error. So new data dot d types will give you the data type of each column. So the way you treat missing values in objects It's different from the way you treat in integers and floats. Do you understand what I mean? So, and then sometimes if a column has close to 70%, no, not really 70%, like 90% of this data as missing values, most times they always advise that you drop that column because because there's this domain belief, or like, that this is where your own domain knowledge comes, that if the data is missing up to about 92, 95% missing, then it cannot be contributing to the prediction you get. So we'll get there. I think I'll find a data that is more dirty than this, whereby you see like a lot of missing values. But I think most of these platforms they tend to like treat the data and all that. So is anybody having missing values? Or Hamed, do you have missing values? Um like can you share your screen? Are you comfortable sharing your screen? Please share your screen. Oh wow, your description has this much missing. Wait, um
It's not
compare.
only on
Yes, so that's your file. Go down, go down. Wow, it's not that much though if you look at it. It only 1,000, but this is your person ID. Although you would drop person ID though, because when it comes to machine learning, you don't have what they call it, in the individualistic data. So customer ID, person ID, you tend to drop those things. Sometimes try it, the system does not become biased. Most people drop tribe. They drop tribe too. Things that are individualistic, most time we drop it. But if person ID is this missing, that means this number of people's data. Go up first. Go up. Let me
yeah,
see the table.
I can see the header.
Yeah. Person, let me see. I want to see that person ID because you may need to drop it. Okay. Person ID. And there are duplicates of the same person.
The same person buys some. If it's a retail store, so the same person buy this couple of stuff. This,
Okay, the same person bought it multiple times. Okay. We might need, if it was data engineering, we'll flag it. But if it's data science, you can drop it. You can drop that person ID. You can drop that column if it's data science. But if the data is for data engineering, it will be flagged as you can replace it as not available. What's the data type of person ID? Is it an integer or a string?
the what? The exe file.
No, I mean the person ID. Check, wait, go down. This thing I've written as per data type. Put the file name and then put .d type. I want to see the data type of that person ID.
Oh, the type. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So my file dot d types. Not data type. D is D types. D types, yeah. S D there's S D types S type.
DS. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's it. It will bring a suggestion for you. Yes, run it. Okay, Siri. No, it is not. There's no brackets. Remove the brackets. Yeah. Okay, so this person ID is a float. Mm. We can't put min for person ID because person ID is unique, right? So you can see where um domain knowledge is coming into play. Either we'll change person ID, change the data type for person ID from float to string, or we drop it. It's best we drop it.
Yeah, it's possible to drop it. Yeah,
Yes, drop it. So to drop it, you do um
drop pin.
yes, just drop it, because does everybody understand why we are dropping it? Let me explain to you. If we
What
change
is?
person ID, we leave it as float. For you to work with float, it means that you want to replace your missing value with, like, maybe a mean, a media. But we can't use mean and media because person ID, based on my knowledge, is unique. It's unique to a person. So if it is missing, it means that they did not put it there. You get? So it's just best to drop the whole column if it's for machine learning. It's for data engineering. That is where we want to store it in like a data warehouse or something. My best suggestion would be to drop the rows that have the person ID as missing, or flag those rows and then report back to the owner of the data that why do we have transactions and we don't have person ID. It could be that maybe the person tried it but it failed, because sometimes there are failed transactions. The person ID will be no. That means that thing did not go, and they could create a different category for people that are having their person ID missing. But since this is for data science, then drop it. So you do. Can you? I can tell you which is drop open bracket this that, but I want you to browse it. Browse how to drop a column in Pandas. Just browse it. Is actually my file square bracket, the column name, dot drop open bracket, the in place troop or something like that. I'm not telling, oh, drop any, yes, that, no, not drop any. Yeah, drop is not drop any. Drop any means that you want to drop missing value, but you want to drop the whole column. Yes.
The
So
whole
it's not
column.
drop any, you want to drop missing values, the ones that have missing values, but it's not drop any. Just check how to drop a column. You want to drop a whole column now. So someone has kept it for you on the chat. Jacob has kept it for you. You can check the chat.
Yes, yes.
So you replace that df with my file. This drop any is if you want to drop rows that have missing values. So you put axis equal to 1. It's not okay, rows. But this is to drop a column. So pick that column and just drop it. Yeah, person ID is gone. Then for description that is missing, since description, the data type for description is actually object, which is a string. Let me see what they wrote as description. You could replace missing values in description as not available. You get? So go down. Now this way we're not going to drop any. So you put it's fill NA we'll use. So just browse how to use fill NA. You put my file, put square bracket. Now we're focusing on not just the old my file, which is your old data set. Focus on a particular column, which is description. Do you understand? So you put my file, square brackets, put description in quotation mark.
Like this.
Yeah, remove that full stop between this thing and this thing. Remove the full stop. Yeah, so check how to work with fill NA. So we want to fill NA in this particular column with not available. So if anybody can help him, so that would be nice. How to work with field NA. Oh, Jacob has helped you too. So field NA. So you replace, check the chart. So field NA is the, I'm really surprised I know this, some of these things off heart. I don't take what I'm okay, so you replace that. So there's a dot between, yeah. Then you, no. That's zero. Remove that zero.
Yes,
It's not
what?
zero. It's not zero you want to use to replace it. It's not available. So remove that zero. Put quotation mark. You want to replace it with the string not available. So no, inside it, right inside the quote mark, not available, not underscore available. That means you want to fill it with NA. Okay. So now run no. Yeah, it should be good. Did you guys understand how we filled the whole string? So most times there are different ways you can fill string. Because description is unique, I didn't use mode. So you can see where domain knowledge comes, right? Description is unique for each product. So I cannot use mode. Mode is, you use mode if maybe you are dealing with like gender now and you have like missing gender. Maybe you can decide to fill it with the most talked about. So you need to have domain knowledge of the data to know what to do. I can't use mode for description. Mode is like the most reoccurring description, but because description is unique, we can't see a product that is Quandl, and we use description of lantern for it. So it's better for you to say it's not available and you leave it like that. So you are good, right? Should we take a
Yes,
break
yes.
now, or we should continue? Okay, so once you are done with the missing value, this is just me trying to, even though I don't have missing values, I still try to, sometimes you could have missing, it's not was just 2 columns. Imagine if you have like 4 or 10 columns missing. You want to separate integer from string columns. So you can decide that, okay, for my integer column, that is the ones that their data type, there's this function called select underscore d types. So if the data type is integer or float or whatever, I want you to put in a separate column. That's what this is about. So now everything here is data types that are integers. You get. Then I want you to like fill them with so if I put in place true, I don't need to put this equal to, it will do it on it. But then I want to fill it with main, which is not a truthful thing because you need to take each column uniquely and based on your
Sorry,
domain knowledge. Yeah,
Ayeka, Ahmed
yeah,
is still presenting, not you.
yeah.
Ahmed is presenting, so we can't see your screen.
Oh, so sorry. Mm, mm, mm. Okay, I see my screen now.
Yes, thank
Yes,
you.
I was saying that even though I don't have any missing values, because I wanted to explain which, thank God, Ahmed had missing values, so I was able to use the zone to explain. But just imagine I had missing values. One way I can do it is to separate, because like I said, you treat missing values in integer different from the way you treat in strings. So one thing I can do is to separate the integer columns from the string columns. And then I can decide that, oh, for my integer values, based on my knowledge on these things, which is age, balance. Balance is unique, so I will not want to use, if I have missing value in my balance, I will not want to use main. Because what I will be saying, I'll be assigning what someone does not have to what they have. So I'll prefer to use zero, you get. But no, age cannot be zero. You know that, right? So you can see where I keep repeating domain knowledge. Age cannot be 0. So I cannot replace missing values in age with 0. But I can use mean or media. I will use mean if I check age and there's no outliers. How will you know if there are outliers? Let me show you something. So if I use new underscore description does describe, I don't know if I'm supposed to put two brackets. If it flags an error, I'm supposed to put two brackets. Oh, sorry, I spelled it wrongly. Describe. If I do this describe function works with only integer data. So I can know if there are outlier. If I look at the mean is 40. I look at the maximum. The maximum is 95. So they are not really is you ask yourself how far is this maximum from the mean? That's how you know if there are outliers. So if this maximum was like 1,000 and the mean was this, I'm like, okay, that means I can expect outliers because it's too far from the mean. Are you understanding me? Please, who is confused? I feel like I'm giving too much information at once. Did someone read? Oh, oh, wow. Okay. So, Ahmed, please stop presenting. Emmanuel is confused. Emmanuel, can you tell me where you are confused? Why did I lose you?
I've been trying to import the pandas still, but I haven't been able to do so. I'm just following. Maybe when I get the recording, maybe I would see and send an email because I'm confused.
Okay. Are you using Google Colab? That's number one.
Yes.
Okay. Open your can you share your screen briefly?
Okay.
Supreme, can you drop a chat telling me where you are, where I lost you? So I don't want I also want to move forward, but I also want to deal with people that are missing. So what was it saying here? Is it that it's not running? It's running now. Your import pandas is running.
But when I try to, this is the file.
Yeah. So you need to bring in the file. You need to put like maybe a new data, name it equal to, you need to read in the CSV file. So if you look at my code, no, don't
Okay.
put when you are writing this thing, when you are trying to create like a new variable, you don't put space between two names. It will flag error.
Okay.
Either you put underscore or you write them together. But yes, Shola has dropped it for you. Just copy and paste that. That's content slash bank slash that one. You will copy your own file path, copy it and paste it. Remove that, use this. So just start from new data, remove, remove all those things. So this thing that is underlined, go to your own data, right click on it so you can get the path. Go to that there's 3 buttons down, click on those 3 buttons. Copy path, because the path might be different, you never can tell. Use it to replace what is inside the quotation mark. Replace it and then complete your quotation, run that, then do new data dot add, open bracket and close bracket. Then just follow what I'm doing. You get
Okay. I've run it. Then.
new code, do new data on that new. Don't worry, you will definitely get the recording. Run
Okay.
this thing. I
Okay.
just kept in the chat. You definitely get the recording, but I also want to move fast because of those that are also moving. You get the recording, you have my mail, and you also get the code. So
Okay. Sometimes when I send you an email, I hardly get replies though.
replies, and because I want to address it in general. So instead of you
Oh,
just, but maybe I have like 4 or 5 people sending me the same thing. So instead of me just responding to one, two, I just send like a bulk email to everybody just to address it at once. That's what most times I do. But I'm really sorry. For this one, I'll send it to everybody again. So stop, I'll just stop sharing your screen. Let me resume.
yes, please.
Yeah. So when you do describe, if you want to know that outliers, like I said before, you compare the mean with the maximum value. This duration is okay the way it is because no duration speaks about days. So it's fine if some people are owing for 250 days, some people are owing for 4,000 days, they're fine. But the ones where you want to focus on is age. If there are outliers in age, that's something you want to pay attention to. But from 40 to 95 is really not that bad. And 95 is a reasonable age. Someone can be 95 and still be owing a bank. But if I see an age like 200, I will raise red flag because I don't think the oldest person in the world is up to 200. Correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah. So with this, I can use mean to fill the missing value for age. For balance, I prefer to use 0. You get, although the minimum value here looks like a minus though. The mean is 1,000. I don't want to. I prefer to just use 0 to be on the safe side. Days. The mean is 15 days. The minimum is 1 day. The maximum is 31 days. I could use mean too for these days because the maximum to the mean is not that far. You get, it's not that. But if it is far, you use media.
Onyeka, how do we know when to use mean and when to use median?
You use media when there is outlier. Outlier in the sense that the numbers are too far from the mean. So if this one is 40 and my maximum value here is reading about 120 or reading like 200, to be on the safer side, use media. But since like you could actually plot it too. I don't know who has heard of this where statistics come from. Normal curve and skewed curve. Who has heard of that before?
I have.
Yeah, so if you plot it and it's far away from the mean, it's not normal. Like it's not like the way normal curves look like now. But if you don't understand, don't worry yourself. Just do the
So,
describe. If
Onyeka, so I'm looking at this data for the age. The mean and the median are very close, but for the balance, the mean and the median are very far apart.
yeah, so for the balance now, this is where my domain knowledge comes. I don't want to use mean because balance has to do with money. You get, so balance has to do with money. I don't want to ascribe money to like a role that did not. I don't know how to put it. I could use mean. I could use media to. I could say um for this of me instead of me filling them at once, I could fill them individually. I could decide to use mean for age. I could use media for balance, or I could use 0 because balance is a bit personalized. I don't know if who has worked with loan data before. Balance is a bit personalized to the best of my knowledge. I may want to use 0 for it, or I could use media for it because it's far off. I don't know if you understand what I mean. Did I confuse you the more?
Yeah, I got it. Thank you.
Yeah, so you use media when you suspect there will be outliers. Outliers are numbers that are very far from the mean. But you use mean if the numbers are all close. They're very, very close to the mean. So like if you look at the 75% quarter is 48, it's still very close to the mean. They're very, very close. They have like a close relationship with the mean. You use mean. But if you feel they are far, or if you don't want to be safe throughout, just use media. If you talk to like the first person that exposed me to statistics told me that to be on a safer side, just use media throughout. It's just more sensible to use media throughout. so that you don't get influenced by outliers. Because if you have an outlier in your data set, take for example, you have 224, then you now have 200. You could be deceived and think that the mean is 100, whereas um, the the data itself is not that big. It's just one data that has gone to affect, influence the mean. Do you understand me?
Yes, thank
So
you.
one data should not be the voice of the whole data set. So it's just best to use media to be on a safe side. So if I've done that, for the objects, like I said, you could use mode. But if you have like marital status, you could use mode. You could use mode. But things like what that description that Ahmed had, don't use mode. It's just best to say not available. Or if you want to be specific, for marital status, you could say not available. So either you use mode or you use not available to be on a safe side. Some people actually also use models. They build like they do KNN model, but that's like I could show you that later, but that's like advanced. Let me see if I have my project, my ML assignment. Yeah. Let me see what I used. My missing value. I dropped duplicates, so that's true. I forgot to tell you guys that about duplicate, but this was my ML assignment. I think I used, are you guys still seeing my screen?
Yes,
This
we
Yes.
one
can
had
see.
about 90% missing value. See, missing plots, about 90%. See, missingness. Almost the whole data set was about 90% missing. I'm trying to see what I think I used a model, and this was correlation to find correlation. But that's advanced. I don't want to expose you guys to all that now. I did a model. Like I used random forest classifier for that, but I will explain that to you like later. But this is just the basic understanding that you could just fill it manually, or you could write a model to fill it for you. So when you've done the whole missing value thing, mm, the next step is the outlier. We don't really have outliers for our data sets. That one too is there. What else data you to look out for? I told you guys to look out for something again. This is another way to check if you have outliers. You could check the this statistical way to check if you have outliers. So you compare the first quarter to the third quarter. I will explain that to you later. Don't stress. When we get to feature engineering, I will explain this to you. So any questions so far? Before we get to encoding, any questions so far? Shola, you said you expect more variation in the balance. No. Okay, so we'll take a 10 minutes break.
I was referring
Yeah, I'm listening.
I was referring to your explanation about the mean, why the mean is far. That was
Oh,
what I was referring to.
all right, all right. But yeah, good, right? So we'll take a 5 minutes break, and we'll come back to do label encoding. We good?
Yes,
Yes.
please.
Okay. So I don't know. We just have to continue the way. I don't want to go back, but I'm just saying that there are different ways in terms of standardization. There's this standard scalar, and then there's min max. Min max would take this numeric value that we've gotten after our label encoding and put it between 0 and 1. That way, the machine does not see one column as more important than the other column. It treats every column equally and then use the columns to make the predictions. Or we use the standard scalar that puts it between -1 and 1. It uses a formula to put it between -1 and 1. You could read up as to how the formula is, although I don't really pay attention to the formula. I'm planning to use, not planning to build, if you understand what I mean. So, but first of all, you do not apply this whole process of balancing to the target variable. Who understands what I mean when I say target variable? Do you understand what I mean by target variable? You can talk, you can
The
go ahead
y
and,
variable.
yeah?
Yeah, the y variable, what we are
Yeah,
trying to
what we
predict.
want to predict on, we don't apply, we do label encoding on it, but we don't apply this whole balancing to it. Because most times it's usually 0 and 1 or 0, 1, 2 if you are doing for multiple classes. So we don't apply. What we have to do first of all is that we remove it. So this is the formula to remove. Axis, if you don't put axis equal to 1, it should throw you an error because you need to tell it that 1 is column. I think 0 is row, 1 is column. So you're telling that you should go and look for this thing in the whole column and drop it, drop the whole column. You get. So we'll create a new, because we're not dropping it for dropping forever. We're dropping it, other put because we only want to work on the independent variables, the variables that are going to be using for the predictions. So we're going to create a new, which is called the X variables. And then we'll drop it. So now you can see that in this one, it's not there. So now we can balance it. This is what we're going to be using for predictions. So we can balance it. You get me? So yeah, but we have assigned Y. This is what we want to predict on. Don't worry yourself, there's still feature engineering. Just understand all the processes that go into place. For data engineering, the process is also different. We'll not get to all these parts, but in data engineering, we're going to be doing a lot of breaking down. The way this table is plenty like this, we'll break it down. You get. So that one too is there, but this is for data science. So when we've gotten, this is what we want to balance. There's something called standard scalar. We import it from the Scikit-Learn library, the preprocessing library. We import it. There's min-max too. You can import min-max. But we'll use standard scalar. All you have to do is just the same way you did that label when you fit it. But this fit transform is to apply the process of whatever you called here on the data. So it fits it, which is the whole of this data. And then when you read it, you see that you're seeing a lot of -0, -0. So it's from -1 to +1. So that way your data are now seen as equal. You get. But remember, we did not do that for the target variable. Please don't forget, don't go and standardize your target. You don't need to do that. You don't even do that at all. So once you've done that, see the line to make prediction. This is everything. That's always the most annoying thing. It doesn't pass like this. But we'll learn this one in machine learning model when we get to machine learning. But you just put the Y. No, we separated Y. We call this what new data Y, right? You just put it in. You replace this with new data Y. Everything we've been doing since is just so that we can put this clean data. But now you can look at how far we've come. Look at where look at what we are putting to the model. See where we came from. This is the language that we understand. We've done so many things and we brought it here to the language that the machine will understand. Now, you can use different models. So the Scikit-Learn is going to be your baby if you're looking at machine learning and data science. Spend time there, read it. Scikit-Learn has different machine learning models. We'll get there. There's linear regression. You can compare different models to know which one gives you the best prediction. When you do this prediction, there's something called accuracy measurements. sklearn has its metrics to measure how accurate your, I don't know if it's here. Metrics, yeah. You can use the sklearn metrics to measure. So there's accuracy, there's precision. We'll talk about that. There's F1 score is for linear regression. We'll talk about that, but you could compare different models and see the one that gives you the best. And the model that gives you the best is what you will save and deploy. That's where MLOps come into place. But I know it has not been easy, all of this information at once, and it's fine. Don't overthink it. Just know the steps to do. Write it down like a form of notes, and one by one, when you get to a step, you can browse, how do I do this step, or ask ChatGPT, how do I do this step? It gives you the step. If you don't understand what it gives, tell it to explain to you line by line. It might even explain better than me, line by line. One is that my job here is to expose you, so it doesn't you don't go searching and miss. I expose you, you go, you take your step by you take your journey yourself. You get. So any questions so far?